Long ago, in a kingdom where the mountains touched the clouds, there lived a brave young prince named Alexander. He had heard wonderful stories about Princess Elena, the kindest and most beautiful princess in all the land. But to win her hand in marriage, he would need to complete a very special quest. This was not a quest about finding dragons or finding treasure. This was a quest that would test something much more important than strength. Are you ready to discover what truly makes a hero? Let us begin. Prince Alexander stood before the golden gates of Princess Elena's castle. The morning sun made his armor shine like silver. His horse waited patiently beside him. The prince had traveled for many days to reach this place. "Your Highness," said the castle guard, bowing deeply, "Princess Elena is waiting for you in the throne room." Alexander walked through the magnificent halls. Beautiful paintings covered the walls. Servants smiled and nodded as he passed. Soon he reached the great throne room. There sat Princess Elena, more lovely than any flower in spring. Her eyes sparkled like stars, and her smile was warm like sunshine. But Alexander noticed something else. Her smile seemed a little sad. "Welcome, Prince Alexander," she said softly. "I have heard of your brave deeds and kind heart." "Thank you, Princess," Alexander replied, removing his helmet. "I have come to ask for your hand in marriage, if you will have me." Princess Elena stood up slowly. "Many princes have asked the same question," she explained, "but my father, the king, has made a special rule. Any prince who wishes to marry me must first journey to the Mountain King." "The Mountain King?" Alexander asked. He had heard whispers of this mysterious figure. "Yes," Elena continued, "the Mountain King lives at the top of the highest peak. He will ask you 3 riddles. These are not ordinary riddles about facts or knowledge. They are riddles about character and wisdom." Alexander felt his heart beat faster, but not from fear. He was excited by this challenge. "If you can answer all 3 riddles correctly," the princess said, "you will prove that you have the wisdom to be a good husband and king. But I must warn you, many brave princes have tried and failed." Alexander looked into Elena's eyes. He saw kindness there and hope, and something that made him want to be the best man he could possibly be. "I will go," he said firmly. "I will answer the Mountain King's riddles." Princess Elena smiled, and this time her smile was not sad. "I hoped you would say that, but please be careful, Alexander. Come back safely to me." The next morning, Alexander began his journey to the mountains. He left his armor behind and wore simple clothes. He took only water, bread, and his faithful horse. The path to the Mountain King was long and difficult. Alexander climbed steep, rocky trails. He crossed rushing rivers and walked through dark forests. Sometimes the wind was so strong it nearly knocked him down. As he traveled, Alexander thought about the riddles he would face. What would the Mountain King ask? How could he prepare for questions about character? On the 3rd day, he reached the top of the mountain. There, in a cave made of crystal and stone, sat the Mountain King. He was neither young nor old, neither tall nor short. His eyes were deep like ancient lakes. "Welcome, Prince Alexander," the Mountain King said in a voice like rolling thunder. "I have been expecting you." "I am honored to meet you, Mountain King." Alexander replied respectfully. You seek the hand of Princess Elena, the Mountain King continued. To prove your worth, you must answer 3 riddles. These riddles will show me the truth of your heart. Are you ready? Alexander took a deep breath. I am ready. The Mountain King's eyes began to glow softly. Here is the first riddle, he said. What is always coming, but never arrives? Alexander thought carefully. This was not about facts or knowledge. This was about character and wisdom. He thought about life, about hope, about the future. Tomorrow, Alexander answered confidently. Tomorrow is always coming, but when it arrives, it becomes today. We must live in the present moment, not always wait for tomorrow. The Mountain King nodded slowly. Wise words, young prince. You understand that a good king lives in the present and helps his people today, not just promises for tomorrow. The second riddle, the Mountain King announced. What has a mouth but cannot speak? Again, Alexander thought deeply. A mouth that cannot speak? He remembered his journey, the rivers he had crossed, the way water flowed. A river, he said with growing confidence. A river has a mouth where it meets the sea, but it cannot speak with words. However, it speaks in other ways. It gives life to the land and provides for all creatures. The Mountain King smiled for the first time. Excellent. You understand that true communication is not just words, but actions that help others. Alexander felt hope growing in his heart. One more riddle remained. The final riddle, the Mountain King said, his voice becoming very serious. What can you break, even if you never pick it up or touch it? This riddle was the hardest of all. Alexander closed his eyes and thought about everything he valued most. What was precious but invisible? What could be broken without being touched? Suddenly, he knew. A promise, he answered. You can break a promise without ever touching it. And when you break a promise, you break trust. And sometimes you break someone's heart. The Mountain King stood up, his face shining with approval. Perfect, Prince Alexander. You have shown me that you understand the most important things in life. Living in the present, caring for others through actions, and keeping your word. You have answered all 3 riddles with wisdom and truth, the Mountain King declared. You may return to Princess Elena. Tell her that I have my blessing. Alexander felt joy fill his entire being. Thank you, Mountain King. I will never forget these lessons. The journey back to the castle seemed much shorter. Alexander's heart was light and his mind was clear. He had learned something more valuable than gold or jewels. When he arrived at the castle, Princess Elena was waiting in the garden. She looked up hopefully as he approached. I answered all 3 riddles, Alexander told her, taking her hands gently. And what did you learn? She asked softly. I learned that tomorrow is always coming, but never arrives, so we must cherish today. I learned that actions speak louder than words, like a river that gives life without speaking. And I learned that promises are precious things that must never be broken. Princess Elena's eyes filled with happy tears. These are the lessons of a true king and a loving husband. They were married in the spring when the flowers bloomed and the mountain streams sang with joy. Alexander became a wise and beloved king, and Elena a cherished queen. They ruled with kindness and wisdom, always remembering the lessons of the three riddles. And they lived happily, not just ever after, but every single day, because they had learned that happiness lives in the present moment, grows through kind actions, and flourishes when promises are kept. Which of the three riddles do you think was the most important, and why?